The officer begins to run in the direction of the gunshots.
They're moving farther away from me.
This story out of Florida is wild. This is Brandon Labiner, a 34-year-old former attorney out of Boca Raton, Florida. He had previously worked with his dad, 68-year-old attorney Paul Labiner, at his father's legal practice, but this week, things took a dark turn. On Saturday, this surveillance camera footage captures who police believe is Brandon heading towards his dad's law office. They say Brandon then waited inside this parking garage and shot his dad to death. Police soon tracked Brandon down to another building where he had barricaded himself inside, a law office with his own name outside the door. Brandon has since been taken into police custody. In the law building where his dad was killed, cops found a gun cleaning kit and some paper with the name of Brandon's attorney. It turns out that Brandon and his father had a troubled past. Media report they worked together at the family law firm up until last year when Brandon resigned. Brandon quit because Paul filed a lawsuit against his son and got him suspended from the Florida bar after accusing him of stealing nearly $500,000 from his mom's trust fund. Brandon has been charged with first-degree premeditated murder and is due back in court in August.
Bro, that was crazy. I cannot believe this dude did that to his father, man. How can you come up with that? You know, the dad should have known something was up when the son up here stealing $500,000 from his mother. You know what I'm saying? The way he was doing it. And then, you know, dad did what he did because he felt that was what he was supposed to do for his wife. So, the son, who mentally, as we know, is not together or there, because why would you even think of some shit like this? Like, man, rest in peace to you. My condolences goes to the family, somebody who loved you more than this scumbag.
This newly released body cam of a mass shooting in Texas is disturbing and also a terrifying picture of everyday life in America. It all went down in an outlet mall in Allen, Texas. Video begins like any average day. An officer in the parking lot speaks to a mother and her two young boys.
Make sure y'all be good, okay? And make sure you wear your seatbelts when mommy's driving, okay?
As this small talk continues, gunshots ring out in the background. The mom immediately carts her two young sons away, and the officer radios in what he's hearing.
We got shots fired at the outlet mall.
Gunfire continues to ring out.
Got people running.
And the officer grabs a rifle as he shouts at people to take cover.
Get going, get moving!
The officer begins to run in the direction of the gunshots.
They're moving farther away from me.
And continues warning people at the mall.
Go, keep moving!
More gunshots ring out. And the officer sends an urgent call for backup.
I'm on foot. I need everybody I got.
As gunfire continues, someone relays to the officer what's going down.
What you got? Is we a mass shooter?
The officer reports the terrifying situation.
I believe we got a mass shooter. I got a magazine on the ground. Drop it! Drop it!
As the sound of gunshots echo throughout the shopping center. The officer continues to rush in the direction of the noise.
I'm moving as fast as I can trying to get over there.
As the shots ring louder and louder.
Shot was shot. Actually still going.
The officer continues to rush forward, and when he appears to spot the mass shooter, he opens fire.
Shots fired by police, I got him down.
The officer strikes the shooter and tells him to give up the weapon.
Drop the gun! I'm over here by Liz, I got him down.
And as he makes his way over to the shooter, officers confirm they've downed the gunman.
Watch the fire! I got him down! I'm not hearing any gunshots! Is he down? Yeah. God damn, bro! Got him, bro!
The gunman died, but only after he had taken the lives of 8 victims, including 3 members of a Korean-American family, one as young as 3, and wounded 7 others. This all went down back in May, but the footage was just released. The 33-year-old gunman was a self-radicalized, far-right extremist and white supremacist who police say left an online trail in which he praised Hitler and showed off Nazi tattoos. He brought a total of 8 guns to the scene of the massacre, all purchased legally, and 3 of them, including an AR-15 style rifle, were found on him after the attack. Texas politicians like Governor Greg Abbott have resisted even small steps towards restricting access to AR-15s. In the aftermath of the Uvalde school shooting, in which 19 children and 2 teachers were killed, Abbott resisted calls to raise the age to buy assault weapons from 18 to 21, saying it's unconstitutional. Just last year, the NRA reposted a 2015 video of Texas Senator Ted Cruz that they claim triggered libs by cooking bacon on the end of an AR-15, the weapon of choice for this Nazi's rampage in a public square. And it's not just the mall. Over the last several years, mass shootings have unfolded in everyday settings like churches, schools, movie theaters, music venues, and supermarkets on a regular basis. The Gun Violence Archive has recorded over 330 mass shootings in the U.S. this year alone, and as Democrats in all houses of government continue to push for comprehensive gun reform, Republicans remain in firm opposition to limiting access to weapons of war. In spite of the white supremacist links, police have yet to release a motive for what went down, but the whole tragedy is still being investigated.
Now this is so sad. Another day in America where gun violence takes so many lives and wounded and hurt so many people. You know, some of these guns they do manufacture and make, you ask yourself, why do y'all need that big of a bang or some shit like that? Like, it should be certain guns, you should only be able to use it in like a government building or something like that. You shouldn't be able to take some of these shits that they sell home. Again, sorry to hear about that. Fortunately, in this crazy world we live in, violence seems to be on the rise more than ever.